They tried to turn my mortgage into a wedding budget, but the DNA paper trail and a single email to everyone ended the shakedown and saved my home. They didn't come to see my new place. They came to put a price tag on it. My mother, Diane, stood in my kitchen like a realtor and said Lily's wedding can't be small. My stepdad, Walt, unfolded a list that didn't have my name on it anywhere except the line that said sell house. They called it family help. They meant pay for the princess. They spoke like it was already decided. The venue had been soft-held. The dress needed a deposit. My living room turned into a budgeting meeting I never agreed to, with my walls offered up like favors. No one asked how many late nights built this down payment. No one asked why my stomach tightened when they said our money and pointed at my mortgage that I looked at the corner I'd painted twice because the first color was too cold. I thought about the first plant that died on the sill and the second one that finally lived. This place held my tries and my fixes. Diane kept talking about how Lily deserves the day she dreamed of. I remembered sharing hand-me-downs while Lily got new. The pattern wasn't new. Only the invoice was that I didn't fight. I listened. I watched their faces, excited, impatient, certain. I let them finish the speech they'd practiced in the car. Then I said we would not be deciding my life in an afternoon. Their smiles went stiff. They said family again, like it was a key that should open any door. But my door locks from the inside. When they left, Diane hugged me like a person sealing a deal. Walt slapped the list on my counter so I could think. I slid it into a drawer I use for junk mail. It fit. That night, I lay on the floor in the quiet and stared at the ceiling fan. I decided I would get every number, every paper, every fact. If they wanted a ledger, they'd get one. But not the one they expected that I treated their ask like a job. I spread the wedding numbers across my table, venue soft-held, dress deposit, flowers that cost a month of my mortgage, a cake tall enough to need its own contract. I added fees they forgot to mention, taxes, service, delivery, design upgrades. The total made my chest go tight. They hadn't brought me a plan. They'd brought me a bill. While the calculator warmed under my thumb, a sentence I hadn't thought about in years floated up. My Aunt Marla at a Thanksgiving long ago, voice low over the sink. Some papers get signed to make life easier for adults, not kids. Back then it sounded like gossip. Tonight it sounded like a map that I drove to Diane's house under the excuse of borrowing a punch bowl Lily needed for cake tasting. Diane loves a helper. She waved me toward the hall closet. It was the same closet from my childhood. Winter coats, a stack of board games missing pieces, and a top shelf of old envelopes that smell like dust and secrets that I climbed the wobbly step stool and slid boxes until my fingers hit the heavy kind of paper people keep even when it hurts. One long envelope had my birth year on the tab in Diane's handwriting. Inside were hospital bracelets, a newborn photo with my face wrinkled and furious, and a photocopy of my first birth record. In the top corner, faint but there, sat a last name I didn't know. Marla's last name, typed where a mother's should be, then crossed out in pen so old the ink had turned the color of tea. My ears rang. The closet air felt thin. I took a photo with my phone, close enough to read the line where a clerk had stamped amended next to Diane's name. Behind the birth record was a county form I'd never seen. Petition to correct vital record, a box checked for guardianship adoption, a date that matched the month Diane and Walt got married. The day the story changed, I put everything back exactly as I found it. I walked out with the punch bowl and a smile so steady my cheeks ached. Diane didn't notice my hands shaking. Walt asked if I'd thought about the sell house line yet. I said I was still running numbers. He nodded like a man counting money he hadn't earned at a tea home. I printed the photos and slid them into a new folder I labeled before the edit. On the front I wrote 3 words so I'd read them first thing in the morning. Get it verified that I wasn't going to accuse anyone with foggy memories and old gossip. I was going to check. And if the past was a locked door, I'd find the person with the key that I didn't text. I knocked. Marla opened her door in a cardigan that smelled like cinnamon and old paperback glue, the kind of smell that makes you remember things before you know which ones. She studied my face the way nurses study monitors. "You found something," she said. Not a question. At her kitchen table, I slid the printouts across. My wrinkled newborn photo, the amended stamp, the crossed-out last name that matched hers. Her hands didn't tremble. They flattened the paper like they were ironing a shirt for a hard day. I told myself I wouldn't be the one to start this, she said. But I promised I wouldn't lie if you ever asked. She stood, walked to the hall, and came back with a shoebox held like a baby. Inside, a hospital bassinet card with my birth weight, a faded Polaroid of Marla in a gown, hair damp, cheeks hollow and bright, a discharge bracelet with a surname that wasn't Diane's, and a folded sheet with a header from Ridgeview Women's Center. The date matched the ink on my photo. The handwriting at the bottom, Dr. Fallon, looked like it had been dragged across the page by a tired hand. Marla talked without drama, like she'd rehearsed the lines in a mirror so they would land where they should. She was 21, alone, and scared. Diane had just gotten engaged to Walt, a man who loves appearances like other men love sports. They said it would make everything neat, Marla said, eyes on the bassinet card. Same roof, same last name, same story. A month later, a petition got stamped, a box got checked, and my birth record got a new line where the old one hadn't finished drying. I asked why no one told me when I could have heard it like an adult and not a fire alarm. She looked at her hands. Because every year it got harder to admit we'd made a mess, she said. And because the person who cared most about neatness had the loudest voice. Walt, the man who thought my living room could be a line item. I took a photo of Dr. Fallon's signature. Is he still practicing? I asked. Marla nodded. Retired, but the clinic keeps records. I checked once. I almost told you then. She pulled another folded slip, a note with the clinic's release department email written in her tidy block letters. If you send them your ID and the date, they'll confirm the record exists. They can't send you everything in a day, but they can say the line out loud. I sent the email from her table, hands steady like I'd borrowed her calm. Subject line, verification request, birth record, Ridgeview. Attachment, my license, the photo of the amended stamp, the date that stitched our stories together. I hit send and felt my ribs loosen one notch that we drank tea while the clock in her hallway counted to 10 again and again. Marla told me what she remembered and, gently, what she didn't. No villains in her version, just adults who wanted the weather to change and used a pen when they should have used courage. Before I left, she pressed the shoebox closed and kept it on her side of the table. This stays with me until you have what you need, she said. Not because I don't trust you. Because I do. Paper belongs with the person who can carry it. In my car, my phone buzzed. Ridgeview release. We can confirm a birth record on date, under mother of record Marla Jensen. An amendment was filed the following month adding Diane Carter as mother by guardianship adoption. Certified copies require processing. Instructions attached. No embroidery. Just the sentence that made the world tilt and then settle flat that I drove home past my for sale according to them house and let myself in with a key that suddenly felt like a verdict. At the counter, I printed the clinic's email, highlighted the names, and slid it into a fresh folder labeled clinic. Then I wrote a note to Diane. Come tomorrow at 6. Alone. No Lily. No Walt. We're going to talk with paper on the table. I stuck it to the inside of my front door so I couldn't miss it in the morning. The house didn't feel like a bill anymore. It felt like a witness. Diane arrived right on 6, the way people do when they think they're about to win. She wore her "we're reasonable" face and carried a folder that I knew would be empty. Walt didn't come. Lily didn't either. Good. Fewer voices to crowd the truth that I'd cleared the kitchen table. No flowers. No snacks. Just 3 pages laid out like a road. The Ridgeview email confirming Marla as mother of record. The amended birth copy I'd photographed from her closet. And the county petition date that matched Diane's wedding month. I didn't speak first. I let the paper be the sound in the room. She sat, glanced once, and reached for the oldest trick we both knew. Turn the volume up. Where did you get this? Not curious. Accusing. Why would you go digging? Why are you trying to hurt us when we're planning Lily's day? I slid the clinic page closer until her eyes had to land on the names. I'm asking one question, I said. Why am I finding out now? For a second, the mask slipped. Her mouth softened, then snapped back. Because it doesn't matter. We raised you. We gave you a name, a house, a life. This, she tapped the paper, is a technicality. And you owe your family. That includes Lily. I pulled one more sheet from my folder and put it on the table like a card you save for the right hand. The petition to correct line with the box checked for guardianship adoption. The date stamped a few weeks after my birth, right before her wedding. No adjectives. No fight. Just the county saying out loud what everyone else kept quiet. Her fingers pressed dense into the wood. Your aunt couldn't handle it, she said, the first honest thing all night. She wanted you to have more than she could give. We made it neat. Neat isn't the same as honest, I said. And it doesn't come with a mortgage on my home. She opened her empty folder, closed it, opened it again like maybe a better answer would appear if she made enough air. You're being cruel, she tried. After all we did, you can't sell a house for your sisters one big day? I didn't blink. No, I'm not selling my house. I'm not funding a wedding I wasn't even invited to plan. And we're not repeating the rule where I get the hand-me-downs and Lily gets the new. She leaned back, eyes wet, rage finding its old rails. So what? You parade this around. Humiliate us? Tell Lily she's. I lifted a palm. This conversation stays between the adults who made the decision. Lily gets spared the mess you created. That's me being kind. My boundary is not punishment. It's a stop sign. She stared at the Ridgeview letter like it might agree with her if she glared long enough. When that failed, she tried bargaining. What if we borrow against your house? Short term. We'll pay you back after the gifts. Diane, I said, using her name on purpose. There is no version where my roof becomes Lily's registry. Silence. The kind that changes rooms. The clock in the hall counted to 10, then started over. Finally, she reached for the only card she had left, guilt. We chose you, she whispered. Doesn't that count for anything? It counts for everything, I said, and meant it. Which is why I'm choosing me now. I slid a single sheet across the table, typed in plain language so no one could pretend they didn't understand. My house is not for sale or leveraged. My savings are mine, and no more money requests for Lily. If anyone pressures me, I will go quiet and formal. Emails only. She read it twice. Her face flickered through a year's worth of holidays in 3 seconds. Tight smiles, posed photos, the need to keep everything smooth. Then she stood. You've changed, she said. That I looked at the papers between us. No, I said. I finally matched the record. She left without slamming the door, which in Diane language is a scene. I didn't chase her down the steps. I gathered the pages into their folders, clinic, before the edit, and the sheet with my rules, and clipped them together like ribs. That I poured water into a glass and drank it slow. The house felt different in the best way. Same walls, new air. I wasn't done. I still needed certified copies and the next conversation with someone who deserved the truth told clearly. Not as a weapon. That I looked at my phone and typed a message I'd been drafting in my head for a day and a half. Marla, can we talk tomorrow about what you want Lily to know and how? I hit send and set the phone face down. Then I wrote 3 lines on a sticky note for the fridge, paper first. Rules in writing. No more neat lies. The fan hummed. The room held. So did I. I wanted the kind of truth that doesn't wobble when someone raises their voice. So at 9 a.m., I was at Ridgeview with a copy of the email, my ID, and a pen that didn't skip. The records clerk spoke in the tone of people who keep chaos in manila folders. She stamped a request, walked to a back room that smelled like paper and air conditioning, and returned with certified copies, my birth record naming Marla as mother of record, and the amendment filed weeks later adding Diane by guardianship. Blue seal, raised stamp, the kind of documentation that stays true even when Thanksgiving doesn't. I paid the fee, slid the copies into a clear sleeve, and watched them change the weight of my bag. Outside, the sun felt different. Not warmer, steadier. I drove straight to Marla. We didn't do preambles. We sat at her small table where the wood is worn shiny by elbows that told the truth when the room wouldn't. I laid the certified copies next to her shoebox. Paper first, I said. Then people. We decided 2 things and wrote them on an index card so our voices wouldn't drift later. Lily gets the truth without blame. Diane doesn't get to weaponize it or bury it. Marla's eyes watered. Relief, not regret. I can tell Lily with you, she said. Not to make a scene. To stop one. My phone vibrated. Walt, family council tonight. 7 p.m. Our house. We'll get you back on track for Lily's budget. No hello. No question mark. A calendar invite like the rest of my life was a spreadsheet he forgot to share. I texted back 1 line. I'll come, with my folder. At home I prepped like it was a presentation where the room would try to move the slide. I made 3 stacks. Clinic, certified record plus amendment with blue seals. Before the edit. The closet photos and the county petition date. My rules. the page Diane refused to sign. Reprinted in bold and simple. On top, I put a fourth sheet. New, short. Final. Going forward. No money request and no talk of selling my house. Any future counsels in writing, not ambushes that if pressure continues. I move all communication through an attorney. At 6:58 p.m. I parked outside the house where my childhood tried to keep itself neat. Through the front window, I saw Diane smoothing a runner on the dining table. Walt stacking plates like a judge counting votes. Lily scrolling her phone. Long white bridal binder open like a promise someone else would keep. I walked in with my folder and no apologies. Walt's smile was all teeth. Good, he said. We'll hash it out quickly, after you look at these venue options. He tapped the binder like a bell. Diane slid a pen toward me. Lily didn't look up. I set my clinic stack down where the binder wanted to sit. The blue seal caught the chandelier light. The room tightened and then pretended not to. Walt cleared his throat. We're not here to relive the past. We are, I said, calm as a clock, to stop it from writing my future. I placed my rules in the center like a place card with my name on it. Diane reached for volume. Walt reached for the old script. Lily finally looked up, eyes moving from the seal to my face like she'd walked into the middle of a movie with no idea who the villain was supposed to be. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't point. I just slid the last sheet forward, the one that said attorney if they kept pushing, and let it rest by the centerpiece like a flower that doesn't wilt when people frown. Tonight, I said, you either stop asking me to pay for Lily's wedding with my roof, or every word after this moves to email only. You could hear the house electricity hum. Walt opened his mouth to object. I opened my folder a quarter inch more so the blue seals showed that he shut his. Walt tried to run the room like a meeting. He pulled the bridal binder back into the center and tapped the page with the venue that looked like a glass castle. Respect looks like pitching in, he said. Start with the deposit. We'll sort the rest after. Diane dabbed at dry eyes. Lily stared at her phone like it might turn into a shield. I slid the binder an inch to the side and set my rules on top of the runner. No, I said. No sale. No loan. No after. My house is not on your menu. I kept my hands flat so they could see I wasn't shaking. Walt reached for thunder. We raised you. We gave you. He stopped when I lifted the clinic page so the blue seal caught the light again. The room felt like a held breath. Diane whispered, don't do this, but it wasn't a plea. It was a habit. I'm not doing anything, I said. I'm reading the record. And I'm setting boundaries you should have set for yourselves years ago. Lily finally spoke, small and honest. I didn't know, she said, eyes on the seal. No one told me anything real. I just made a Pinterest board. It wasn't an apology. It was a sentence from a different world. Walt leaned forward, elbows planted. This family survives because we show a united front. If you won't help, you don't come. Holidays, birthdays, out. We will not be humiliated. He said out like it was a switch he could flip. I didn't flinch. You can take away chairs, I said. You can't take away truth. He opened his mouth to push harder, and then Marla walked in with her shoebox. She didn't slam the door. She set the box on the table with the care you give to things that already broke once. She lifted the lid and lined up 3 simple pieces. The bassinet card with my birth date, a Polaroid of her in a hospital gown, and the discharge bracelet with her last name. No speeches. Just a story that didn't need one. Diane made a sound like a match sputtering out. Walt went very still, like he'd found the edge of the map and didn't like what was past it. Lily stared at the Polaroid, then at me, then at Diane, as if the room had moved without her. Marla spoke to the table, not to the people. We told ourselves neatness was love, she said. It wasn't. It was fear. I won't use that fear to shake money out of her. She touched the bassinet card with one finger. Not ever again. Walt tried one last trick, turning the box into a weapon. You bring this now? To sabotage your sister's wedding. Marla didn't raise her voice. To stop you from spending someone else's life like it's decoration. I slid the final page, the one that mentions attorney, between the flowers and the centerpiece, where everyone could see it without me pointing. Here's the only offer, I said. You stop asking. You stop planning with my roof. You stop threatening to cut me out like a coupon. Or we take this to email only and let a lawyer sort your tone. The house made its little hum again, the quiet sound electricity makes when it remembers its job. Walt looked at Diane, then at Lily, then at the blue seal that wouldn't move. Fine, he said, The words shaped like a nail. Keep your money. Don't come crying when no one shows up. I'd rather sit at a small table with people who tell the truth, I said. Even if it's just 2 chairs. Lily's eyes flicked to me, a question forming that didn't know its shape yet. Diane reached for the binder like it could warm her hands. Walt pushed back his chair and stood. The meeting was over because the paper had one. I packed my pages, nodded to Marla, and walked out with my back straight. On the porch, I could smell someone's laundry from down the block and a little rain in the air that hadn't started falling yet. The sky looked honest. At home, I put the certified copies in my safe and the shoebox photo Marla gave me on a shelf where I keep things that mean what they say. I made tea and wrote 3 lines for my fridge. Blue Seal beats binder. Boundaries beat threats. 2 chairs beat a crowded lie. That I slept with the porch light on because I wanted the house to know it was chosen. Lily texted at 8 a.m. Can we talk? Just us. No hearts. No bridal emojis. We met at a small cafe that smells like oranges and fresh bread, the kind of place where people tell the truth without planning to. She came without the giant binder, wearing a sweater that wasn't trying to be a dress rehearsal. She sat, wrapped her hands around a cup she didn't sip, and said, "Did they really ask you to sell your house?" Her voice was careful, like a person stepping onto a dock that might not be bolted down. I nodded. I didn't add speeches. I slid the certified copies across, the blue seal catching the window light, then the amended page, then the petition date that sits a few weeks before Diane's wedding photo in our hallway. I kept my face calm so she could keep hers. She read, once, then again. The second time her mouth moved with the words like she needed to try them on. Marla, mother of record. Amendment, guardianship adoption. Diane added later. She blinked hard. They never told me, she said. It wasn't defense. It was a bruise finding its color. That I told her only what mattered. That adults make choices. That pens can tidy what hearts should face. That none of it was her fault. I'm not mad at you, I said. I'm done paying for their neat story. She looked out the window at a bus stop ad for a wedding show, all tulle and smiles. I thought asking for help was normal, she said. Like tradition. Walt calls it tradition. He says family shows up with money. Family shows up with honesty first, I said. Money without honesty is just control. She pulled her phone, opened the venue email, and stared at the hold confirmation like it belonged to a different Lily. Her thumb hovered. Then she typed 3 clean lines to the coordinator. Please release our date. We won't be moving forward. Thank you for holding it. Her shoulders dropped in a way I'd never seen. I don't want a day built on someone else's roof, she said. If I get married, it's in a backyard with folding chairs and the truth. She handed my papers back like they were breakable. They're going to spin this, she added, small. They'll say you turned me against them. She bit her lip. Maybe I was already turning and just didn't have a name for it. We made a new plan at that little table with the orange smell. No more ambushes, group texts only for schedules, big talks in writing. If Diane tried to rewrite the story by group chat, Lily would not reply in public. She would send a private note. I've seen the documents. Please respect her boundary. Don't ask me to choose between truth and a party. Before we stood, she surprised me. What do you want me to call Marla? She asked. Honest, simple, like a door gently opened. Marla, I said. For now, we'll let names grow at their own pace. She paid for the coffee like a small act of repair and hugged me without the binder between us. On the sidewalk, she said, I'm sorry for how easy it was to ask you for things. I said, I'm sorry for how easy I made it look to say yes. We left the cafe lighter than we entered. My folder felt heavy in the right way, like a good coat in cold air. On my phone, a new message from Walt was waiting, all caps, without punctuation. Family meeting part 2. Tonight. I didn't answer. I forwarded it to email, where loud things go to quiet down. At home. I wrote 3 lines for the fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. Backyard over ballroom. Truth over tradition. Sisters over scripts. Then I put out 2 plates for dinner. Just in case Lily needed a place that wasn't a staged by noon, my phone lit up with a mass text from Diane to anyone who's ever shared a table with us. Cousins. Church friends. Neighbors who still call me. Kiddo. She wrote that I'd ruined Lily's wedding, that I'd manipulated my sister with lies, and that I was withholding family funds out of spite. Walt chimed in with a thumbs up and a line about respecting parents. It read like a press release written on a moving Carded I didn't reply in the arena they built. I took it to email, where heat cools and words sit still. I sent one message to the same group. 4 sentences and a CC that mattered. I won't be selling my home or funding Lily's wedding. Attached are certified records from Ridgeview confirming Marla as mother of record and an amendment later adding Diane by guardianship. This is not a scandal. It's a correction. Going forward, please keep all requests in writing and do not involve me in plans that require my money. I attached scans with the blue seals, watermarked. Personal details cropped, but the headers and stamps untouched, and CC'd Mr. Ellis. No color, no story, just paper. Within minutes, the reply storm split. A few wrote, "We love you both," and bowed out. One aunt tried to soothe with, "All families have secrets." A cousin posted proud. Walt replied to all with, "Documents don't change what matters." And that was the line that told on him. What mattered to him was control, not truth. Then the side pressure started. An older cousin called, then texted, "If I didn't restore harmony, I might find myself uninvited from holidays." I forwarded his note to the thread and answered twice. Once to him, once to everyone. "I wish you well this season. I won't attend events where my money or my boundaries are agenda items. Please keep invitations separate from requests." Silence opened a lane. Lily used it. She wrote her own note to all. "I released the venue. Please don't blame my sister. I saw the documents. No one owes me a ballroom." She didn't add hearts. She didn't apologize for the truth. She just picked it up and held it. Walt, finding no purchase, tried a last shove through extended relatives. A Facebook DM from a great uncle I haven't seen since braces. A voicemail from a neighbor who remembers when Diane took you in. I saved each. Replied once with "Please see attached" and the blue seal scan. And CC'd Mr. Ellis. Formal isn't cold. It's frictionless. The BY evening a new email from Diane arrived. Smaller than her blast. "You've embarrassed me." I answered with the shape I planned to live by. "I'm not interested in winning arguments. I'm interested in accurate records and clear boundaries. I will not finance events. I will answer in writing only." Then I powered my phone down and ate dinner at my kitchen table, the one they wanted to turn into a budget spreadsheet, while the porch light did its quiet job. The house felt like a solid noun again. Before bed, I printed the entire thread, hole-punched it into correspondence, and wrote 3 refrigerator lines under Grandma's lemon magnet. 4 sentences, blue seal CC'd, and "Oh, more arenas. Walt doesn't dial. He declares." The email subject line was "Final warning." Inside, if I didn't contribute to Lily's wedding, I'd be removed from family events, and my disrespect would be made known to those who matter. It read like a door slam typed in bold that I didn't bargain with volume. I sent one formal reply with 2 attachments. Contact rules, 1 page, plain text, no requests for money. No talk of my house. All communication in writing. Harassment equals attorney. Certified record, Ridgeview. Cropped for privacy, seals visible. With a line underneath. Correction is not humiliation. I CC'd Mr. Ellis and Marla. Then I set my outbox to delay send by 2 minutes. Long enough to breathe, short enough to keep my nerve. When the whoosh came, my hands were steady. 5 minutes later, Lily texted just me. "I don't want a ballroom. I want peace. Come to Marla's Saturday. Picnic. No scripts." 2 words I'd never seen in our thread sat there like sun on a wooden fence. Our choice. Saturday felt like a test the sky wanted us to pass. We laid a blanket under Marla's maple and ate real food from paper plates that didn't pretend to be fine china. Fried chicken, cold grapes, cookies that don't survive a second day. Marla brought the shoebox but kept it closed. Paper belongs to the person who can carry it, and today, that was me. Lily showed up in sneakers, no binder, hair pulled back like a person who wants to hear, not perform. We talked about good things first. Her neighbor's new puppy. The way late light turns the grass gold. The backyard wedding she can imagine if she ever wants one. Folding chairs. A Bluetooth speaker, truth, halfway through. My phone buzzed with a reply all from Walt. "You've chosen your path." He CC'd 3 relatives who love drama and 2 who hate it. I slid the phone face down and poured lemonade. Marla flicked a crumb off the blanket and said, "Some people think control is love because that's the only tool they ever learned." Lily nodded, then looked at me, not for rescue, for reference. "We're not doing tools," she said. "We're doing tables." When we wrapped, Lily hugged me with both arms and said, "I'm not picking sides. I'm picking sense." That word felt like a small, perfect bell. Back home, I filed Walt's note into correspondence, printed Lily's picnic text for good things, and wrote 3 lines for my fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. No is a full sentence. Family is a table, not a tax that we choose who sits. The house breathed with me, steady and simple. I didn't win a war. I stopped funding one. I closed this the way I wanted the next years to feel, clear and written. One email to the whole list. No sale, no loans, no requests about my house or money. Contact by email only. Harassment will move to council. I attached the contact rules and the certified record one last time, seals bright as traffic lights. Then I archived every thread that kept trying to be a courtroom. Lily forwarded her message to the venue. Release confirmed, deposit refunded to her card, not mine. She sent me a photo of a hardware store sticker that said folding chairs and wrote, "If I do this someday, it'll be backyard and honest." That felt like a ribbon cut on the right door. Late afternoon, an email from Diane arrived. No caps, no crowd. "I am ashamed of how I handled this." It wasn't a promise. It was the first sentence that didn't pretend. I replied with the line that fits on a sticky note and a life. "We can start from truth, or we don't start." I packed the paper that kept me steady. Clinic. Before the edit, correspondence, contact rules, and slid them into the safe. On the fridge, under Grandma's lemon magnet, I kept the 3 that held. My roof is not a registry. My money is not a vote. My family is not a secret. At dusk, I switched on the porch light. The house glowed the way boundaries do when they finally match your bones. Inside, 2 plates waited on the counter, because some dinners will be just me, and that's not a loss. It's a shape, one I chose, but I didn't end a family. I ended a funding model, and the people who love me know which door to use now. Thank you for watching this story on True Tales Hub. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next story. That we post new tales twice a day, and each one comes with unexpected twists you won't see coming.